Hi guys, and welcome back to Maltbox, the non-chill filtered whiskey blog. I'm Andy and I'm back here today with another whiskey review. Now the whiskey that I'm looking at for you is a Highland whiskey. It is a very popular, very famous distillery, particularly in the whiskey connoisseur circles. Try saying that after a few of these. It's home to a very famous distillery as well that is incredibly expensive. A sister distillery, basically. But I'm looking at the OG distillery, so to speak, the one that everyone can kind of get access to. And it's this, Clynelish. The 14-year-old Clynelish, to be exact. So, this is a Diageo distillery. Okay, now, Clynelish, very popular, because you can get this quite relatively readily, I suppose you could say. Maybe not as much as some other whiskies, like it's nowhere near as available as Johnnie Walker Red, for example, or other single malts in Diageo's portfolio. However, for what the distillery is, it is accessible. Now, I mentioned a sister distillery just while I poured this. So, what a noise. Clynelish is located in the town of Brora. Sister distillery is Brora. The difficulty being that Brora has only just reopened after decades of being closed. As a result, Brora whiskey tends to cost in the thousands of pounds. Thousands of pounds for something that you drink. I'm not about that, personally. Each their own. Fine if you're enabled to do that. This retails, by comparison, for around 45 quid to 50 quid, depending where you can find it. It's bottled at 46% as well, which is pretty rare for Diageo own bottlings, I'll be honest. And there it is, the label in all its glory. And I'm not going to focus too much on the ownership of the distillery, because Diageo have done a lot of things for Scotch whisky. Just because it doesn't fit our focus as whisky anoraks doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing a lot of things wrong. They pretty much, apart from the Glenfiddichs and the like, they're the ones that opened up the malt category, because they did it via pubs back in the day. If you used to go into a pub in the 70s, chances are there wasn't a single malt on the shelf. It'd be some sort of blend in a big optic like that, like they are now. But they kind of introduced the classic malts range, which got people in the bars and in the pubs buying single malts. Clynelish isn't, I believe, from memory, part of the classic malt selection, which includes Dalwhinnie, Clynelish, Talisker. Have I already said Dalwhinnie? I think I might have already said Dalwhinnie. There's a few, anyway. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. So, anyway, it is bottled at 46%. However, the flip side is it will be chill filtered and it will have added colouring. I don't know what kind of cask it's matured in, because it doesn't tell me on the bottle or the tube, and I've not looked at Whisky Base to confirm. It's a whiskey, and I will get to it in a minute. Don't worry, I will start drinking it pretty soon. It's a whiskey that I tried at the start of me drinking whiskey back in, when I was a teenager, but I suppose when I started doing the reviews when I was the previous iteration of Maltbox, in about 2011, 2010, something like that. Probably 2010. So you're looking at about 11 or 12 years ago from the date of this review I first tried Clynelish. And I'll be honest, I was blown away, because it was something completely different to all the other whiskies that I tried at the time. I just started to explore malts properly, inverted commas, because it's each to their own. Again, I'd had Pulteney, I'd tried Glenfiddich, Glenlivets. I dabbled with a couple of peated whiskies like Talisker. And then I got to Clynelish and it was kind of, this isn't like anything like I've tried before. So, again, the colour doesn't really matter because it's not real. And I always say that. Legs are relatively quick down the glass. But again, it's chill filtered, so the spirit is not going to be as thick on the nose. Now, right. This is one of the reasons that I love Clynelish and why it has such a good reputation. It is so incredibly consistent, and it also consistently brings so many positive flavours to the forefront. So It's a coastal whiskey. Brora is a coastal town. So you're getting some salinity in there, you're getting the sea air. You're then getting some of their trademark wax. It's waxy. Clynelish and Brora Distillery? Maybe it's a new one on me, I don't know. Brora and Clynelish have whiskey that is often found to have waxy characteristics. Smells like candle wax, beeswax, or similar. There's some citrus in there. Again, a little bit of lemon, which again is quite well renowned for Clynelish. There's a little bit of toffee, a little bit of spice as well. It's just a really nice, very pleasant, very approachable, but also very kind of comforting nose. There's a lot of good aromas in there. There's a slight touch of smoke, but it's not a Talisker like I already mentioned before, just to use another example in Diageo's portfolio, or a Leadshake, or he looks for peated whiskies on his shelf. Beg, for example. It's nothing like that. It's just, it's barely a whisper. It's just structured. And even though, yes, it's chill filtered, yes, it's got added colour into it, it's a lovely nose. It's such a solid nose. Right, on the palate. Right, texture a little bit thinner than you'd like. However, flavour wise, in fairness to it, it still packs a punch. Lovely intense spice. For me, the slight peatiness in there, or slight smokiness, is more prevalent on the palate than it is on the nose. There's some more toffee. There is that, and I'm doing that now with my gums. It is waxy. You wouldn't have thought it. I mean, again, it's chill filtered, which takes texture away. But it's still got that like waxiness to it, and that waxy flavour, and a little bit of that citrus again. The salinity is still there to some extent. It's just solid. I can't knock it. I cannot knock it. I know I see a lot of, outside of the standard Diageo classic malts, I don't think Oban's part of it, but I could be wrong. But basically, Oban 14, again, another whiskey that a lot of people enjoy, and quite rightly. You know, it's pretty solid. For me, the Clynelish 14 is better. There's no other way of putting it. For me, it's better. But it's each to their own. Maybe it's the angry cat on the label that just appeals to me. I mean, there's even a care line on the back, which is nice and reassuring. 08456014558. So, I mean, for me, again, I don't buy Brora. I don't. I've never bought a Brora. I think I might have tried one in my life. And a bit like the Port Ellens I've tried, I'll be honest, I was not blown away. For me, I prefer Clynelish to Port Ellen. I think Port Ellen's massively overrated. It is massively overrated, and that goes for thousands of pounds now because it's shut. But let's not forget, there's a reason that it closed. It wasn't that it was surplus to requirements as such. Diageo was just like, well, prior to Diageo, it was obviously Allied, and prior to that, I can't remember what it was called. It's a lot of people kind of make a big thing of it. It's a prestige thing, or Brora, Port Ellen. Does it really matter though? It doesn't, because you've still got access to something like this. And you can buy this. I bought this in Tesco, so you can get it in some supermarkets. And in part, again, me going back to what I said at the start around Diageo, that's one of their selling points. They have the backing, they have the power to do that, to get this kind of whiskey in supermarkets. And that's good. That's good for us. It is. Finish. Good length. A little bit of spice. Some of that salinity again. If you find an independent bottling of whiskey that isn't labelled Clynelish, but is labelled something like Sutherland, 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, 9.75 times out of 10, it will be Clynelish. because it is in Sutherland. Brora, Sutherland. And it's not going to be Brora, I'll tell you that much. Not if you're spending like under like £2,000 for it, let's put it that way. Is this appealing to all of our whiskey anorak needs? No, it's not. It is not non-chill filtered. It is not natural colour. However, I really enjoy this malt whiskey. I really do, because it's just solid. And I said solid at the start, and I'm going to say solid again. And I think out of all the Diageo portfolio, because I mean, I've got, looking up there, I've got a Del Ewan 16, 43%, a lot darker even than this. But they've gone 46%, which gives it a nice oomph of flavour. And it's good distillate. That's the key thing. It's good distillate. And if you have good distillate and you look after your cask well, you're going to get good whiskey at the end of it. And that is exactly what they've done with this. Clynelish 14. I can't knock it. I cannot knock it. Again, no, it is not. For example, this is going to be the next review. It's not as naturally presented as the Benromac 15, which I believe to be natural colour and non-chill filtered. Or this Glen Scotia that I've reviewed previously, the 10-year-old Bordeaux finish, which is cask strength. And it says on the back, cask strength, natural colour, non-chill filtered. No, it's not like that. But not everybody cares about that. We're a very small circle. The industry has to cater for a lot of other people. And not everyone's looking for the same things as us. So sometimes I feel like we need to look sort of past some of those things if we just need to enjoy something. And for me, that is what I do with this. Great whiskey. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to box it off now. So I'm on Twitter at Maltbox, Instagram at Maltbox Whiskey. Feel free to subscribe, but I'm not going to badger you to do so. I've also started a new mini-series, a new series exclusively to Twitter and Instagram called Malts in Minutes, which is the polar opposite of me rambling at you for the last 25 or whatever it's been, where I review whiskies in 2 minutes and under. Now, they're going to be whiskies that didn't make it onto the channel because they'll either be samples, or there might be whiskies that you can't get anymore but people might still have, or there might be stuff that isn't necessarily as relevant anymore. There's a lot of releases, a lot of things to keep up with. Anyway, guys, I'm going to box it off. Cheers. See you soon.